Hi, in this video I'm going to show you 10 examples of DIY St. Patty's Day cards. These are universal, so you can pretty much make them for anyone. I made them to send to my customers. The materials that I used were mostly cardstock paper, stickers, ribbon, glue, scissors. So this is number 1. I called it Clover blocks. I tried to come up with names so I could recognize each of the cards for easy reference. And in the beginning, I always open my card to make sure it's facing the right direction. I'm going to start out with a forest green cardstock that's going to go on the back. And then I've pre-cut shapes, square shapes, with white and green with gold clovers. I'm going to attach my cardstock with a basic glue stick. So my square shapes I measured are 1.5 inches squared. I'm going to place them in a checkered-like fashion, 3 rows down. And I like to lay them out first before I glue them on, just to make sure it looks right. Okay, now that we have got all of these glued on, we are going to move on to gluing the clovers on, and I'm using this Gorilla Super Glue. It's so fast, so if you use it, you have to make sure you put it where you want it to go because you cannot move it very much. I got these clovers at the Hobby Lobby, and they are 3-dimensional clovers, and they have 4 flat colors and 1 glitter color. So I split them up in between all the different patterns and colors. So glue this last one on there and see, they're already set. The glue dries very fast, so we're ready to move to the next step. So next I'm going to take a light kind of lime green-ish color cardstock, and I'm going to cut out a shape that's going to fit in the bottom part of my forest green box. I find that the more I kind of layer my cardstock papers and patterns, it gives it more depth, and I think it looks better. And I'm going to attach this with my standard glue stick. Anytime I'm attaching my cardstock with glue stick, I find that once I put it on, I usually have to go back and kind of secure the corners with glue, and this stuff dries fast too, so you just have to work quickly. And you also want to make sure that whenever you use a glue stick that you just press down on all the areas. You don't want any lumps or bumps from like globs of the glue stick underneath of it. So next I am going to add a dark green, like a forest green ribbon accent to the front of the card. And I'm going to cut it where it meets exactly from the dark forest green background from one side to the other, so it kind of stays within the frame of the card. And I'm also going to use my Gorilla Super Glue to glue it on, so I'm hoping that it doesn't seep through and you can't see it underneath it, because it'll glue it really fast. Otherwise you could use a fabric glue, but I'm going to try this Gorilla Super Glue and see how well it works. Okay, so it seemed to work really well whenever I attached the first part, but it kind of hung open in the center, so I'm going to have to put glue on the outside of the center part, and then I'm also going to put a little tiny bow that I made using a fork watching a YouTube video on top of it. So looks really cute. I'm happy. Next, I'm going to layer some cardstock so that I can put me a little Happy St. Patty's Day sign on the front and bottom of it. And I had these cut on my Brother paper cutter out of cardstock paper that is forest green with gold clovers. Then I'm going to write in the best handwriting I possibly can, Happy St. Patrick's Day. And I'm going to write this on a white card that I cut out just a little bit smaller than the other one, so you can see the other one behind it, and attach it to the front of it using a standard glue stick. Then I'm finally going to attach these little just gold stickers just for little accents to add a little extra. I really like how this turned out. We're going to add one more clover to the front of our card, and we have completed the first one. So the second one I called Loads of Luck, and it was really cute. I actually cut the truck with my brother paper cutter, but it's very simple and you could probably freehand this truck. It's nothing complicated. And I'm going to start out using a pattern of green paper on the back side. It's not necessarily cardstock, it's a lot thinner than that, but it came in like in a big packet of multicolored paper. And so I wanted a pattern on the back. I'm going to make sure my card is in the right direction, and then I'm going to start gluing my letters on. I started with the last word and I'm going to work my way up. It might have been easier if I would have used transfer tape. I'm not real familiar with that, but it has to be easier than me and my tweezers and glue stick. But nevertheless, we will get all of these pieces on there eventually. Looking back, I might have put my truck a little bit lower, closer to the word loads, but in this case, we put it in the center, and it comes out great anyway. And I kind of wanted the clovers to look like they were like flying out of the back of the truck. And I'm going to use the Gorilla Super Glue to glue the clovers on. And again, make sure you put it where you want it to go, because you really don't have any wiggle room to move these things once you stick them on that glue. They're on there pretty good. Okay, we have just a few clovers left to glue on, and then we will move on to our next step. I got these clover embellishments from the Hobby Lobby as well. Most of my supplies that I'll be using today came from the Hobby Lobby, in case you're wondering. So I added a sticker on my truck so it looks kind of like a shamrock logo. Then I'm going to add a couple of these gold embellishment stickers. And then we are going to put on a piece of ribbon to complete our second card. I attached it using the Gorilla Super Glue. And I'm going to make a bow again with a fork. And I did get this technique off of a YouTube video. So I wanted to show you on this card how I actually did it. So you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to wrap it around, pull the left part you wrap around through, and then stick it through the center part of the fork underneath the ribbon, and then you take the part that you stuck through the fork, bring it back over, put it in between, and then shove it in that little crossover portion of the ribbon. And when you pull it tight, just make sure the ribbon is faced kind of how you want it to be. Like, do you want your dots forward? Do you want them backwards? Make sure everything's kind of neat, tied it up, make it tight, and then just trim off your legs of your bow to where you want it to be. This thing was kind of frustrated. I don't think it should be this difficult, but there we go. We have a bow. And I'm going to use the Gorilla Glue Super Glue to attach my bow to my ribbon. So on all of my cards, I'm going to attach a piece of cardstock paper on the inside, and this is where I'm going to write my special note for the person I'm giving it to. I just happen to do this step on this card specifically because it's black and it for sure needs one, but I ended up using the same type of cardstock style inside on all of them. So we're done with number 2. Moving on to number 3, Luck of the Irish. In this one, we have a white card. We have a black cauldron, some rainbow cutouts, a horseshoe embellishment, a light green background we'll start out with, a Luck of the Irish sticker, and some cardstock. I'm going to attach my green background with our standard glue stick. And I'm going to place this light green background somewhat in the center of the card, a little bit higher to the top. And I want to make sure that when I place it, I have my Luck of the Irish sticker where the R, extended R, just kind of goes onto the light green backdrop, but the rest is going to be on the white so that you can see it well. Then I'm going to attach the cardstock, the green with gold clovers, to the bottom, just kind of giving it a layered effect. Next, we are going to apply our sticker, our Luck of the Irish sticker. And I want to place this on before I do the rainbow because I want to make sure that it's in the position that I want it to be in and I don't put anything in its spot. And so we're going to put that on first. Next, it's time to attach our cauldron and our rainbow pieces. So I have an extra just trash paper that I am putting the glue on them with because it just kind of gets everywhere. And so I'm going to put my rainbow strips on first, and then I'm going to attach my cauldron so that even if they're not even or it's kind of messy at the bottom, it's going to cover that up. And so that worked out perfect. I almost did it backwards. Then I attach my wooden horseshoe embellishment, add some gold coin stickers, a Feeling Lucky sticker, and a couple of clovers, and we are done with number 3. On to number 4, Polka Dot Patty. This one was really cute. I liked the background being polka dots. It was just cute and simple and sweet. And so I'm using a white card. I attached a green polka dot pattern to the back. I'm going to add a polka dot ribbon to the side of it. And then I'm using white squares that I am attaching to a green cardstock, and I'm actually gluing them on, and I'm going to cut them out. So they're individual grouped pieces. Then I'm going to use my Gorilla Super Glue, and I'm going to glue clovers to the front of them, and I use the glitter embellishments that I got. Add a St. Patty's Day sticker to the top, and that's it. Number 5, Sunny Bling Clover. So I mentioned sunny because of the yellow, and it reminded me of the sun. So we're going to use a white card, and we are going to attach a green patterned background. This isn't cardstock again, it's just like, it's a regular, a much thinner paper, but I wanted a pattern on the background, and then I wanted to add some yellow into it to, give it some more color. And so I'm going to kind of color block the yellow and the green cardstock, attaching it using my standard glue stick. So it took me a minute to get the glue stick to glue this cardstock on top of each other. So I'm going to try using my Gorilla Glue on these embellished pieces that I cut out. Just as long as they're layered, I feel like it won't seep through because this is a thick cardstock. So I had these cut with my Brother paper cutter, and I'm going to attach like a cloud shape on the back, and then another one on the front of that cloud shape that's a little bit smaller so that you can see it, and it's layered. Then we're going to attach a clover to the front of it, and also a Happy St. Patty's Day that's handwritten, and that's also from pieces that I cut with my Brother paper cutter. Again, I like the special handmade touch that the handwritten notes give it. And then we're going to add a clover rhinestone embellishment sticker, and then a wooden horseshoe. This will be the final touch to this card, and we'll get that positioned on there, and there you go. So number 6 is another Loads of Luck number 2. This was so cute, I had to do another one. And so again, I'm using a background of green patterned polka dot paper, and I cut them into 2 to make it look like there was kind of a roadway in between. And then I'm going to glue on the truck with my standard glue stick. Next, I'm going to attach all of my Clover embellishments with my Gorilla Super Glue. I was kind of aggressive, so I hope I get all of these on before the glue dries. And again, you don't have a lot of time to move them around, so just make sure when you put them down, they're where you want them to be. I used 2 different sizes. They have the larger ones and then the smaller ones, and I just kind of placed them randomly throughout to, in a direction that looked like they were coming out of the top of the truck and kind of blowing all over the place. Then I attached another Clover that's different to the truck and added my Loads of Luck letters. Added a ribbon underneath it. I found it very useful to find the best pair of scissors in my house that I own to cut this ribbon. It was so frustrating. Every time I tried to cut it, it would fray or it wouldn't be straight. All you need is a great pair of scissors, and that becomes not an issue anymore. I'm going to attach my ribbon with my Gorilla Super Glue, and that will complete this card. So number 7 is our 3D Clover. This one was neat. It was kind of an idea that I got online. We're going to use a white card. We have cardstock glitter paper, cardstock yellow paper, a big clover cutout, and some heart cutouts. So I'm attaching my green glitter paper to the back, and then I'm going to put the yellow cardstock on top of it using my standard glue stick. And then I'm going to put the green clover on top of that. So after I attach my Clover, I cut out 4 of these heart shapes, and I'm actually going to bend them a little bit so they kind of flip up on each side. And then I'm going to attach one of each heart to the leaf of the 4-leaf clover. And that way, whenever you kind of roll them, and what I did is I just kind of took the whole shape of the heart and wrapped it around my finger, so I kind of rounded the whole thing. And so then whenever it had that crease bend on the bottom center, that's what I would use to glue it down to the clover. And that way it kind of gave it this 3D effect. So once I get all of my hearts glued onto my Clover, we are going to put on our Happy St. Patty's Day note, which I have a green cardstock and then a cloud shape that I printed on my Brother paper cutter. Hand wrote Happy St. Patty's Day on the front of it, and then I kind of colored in the outer ring of it with a green chalk, which I'll show you in a little while. And I added a large green rhinestone to the center of the Clover. And that's that card. We're done with this one. Next we have number 8, our Clover hat. And this one is pretty simple. You just need a hat and a bunch of Clover stickers, and of course some cardstock and a pattern paper for your back. And I'm going to check and make sure my card's right side up first, of course. Then I'm going to apply my pattern back with my standard glue stick. And then we're going to apply our hat. I realized I needed to attach my cardstock first because I wanted it on top of it, but it all worked out. We'll get it on there. And I got tired of gluing my cardstock, so I've started using my Gorilla Super Glue, and it works pretty good. It hasn't seeped through anything yet. So we're going to put our top part on for our little sign and then start attaching a whole bunch of Clover stickers. I wanted it just to look like clovers were just coming out of this thing everywhere. And so I kind of layered them up, put some on top of each other, and just made it look like they were a whole bunch of them. So after I put the Clover stickers on, I went back and on some of the lighter colored ones, I put these Clover crystal rhinestone pieces, and it kind of made it a little bit more three-dimensional and gave it a little bling bling. I like it. It turned out pretty good. So the last part of this, we're going to make a little happy St. Patty's Day sign. And when I talked about the chalk earlier on the card I was doing, this is the chalk I'm talking about. You take a little cotton ball, you roll it around in the colored chalk you want, and then you just kind of go around the edges of the piece to get the look that we're going for. Like I said, this is a real easy medium to work with. You can make this as light as you want, as dark as you want. It's very easy to blend it together. Okay, so I think I got really anal about that because it kind of took me a minute to get it perfect how I wanted it, but here we go. It looks great. Now I'm going to attach this ribbon to the outside of it with my Gorilla super glue, and that's it. So number 9 is 3 ancient clovers. And I called it ancient because the 4 squares on the left side kind of reminded me of that. But this one's easy as well. It's kind of sharp, sophisticated look, I think. And make sure your card's right side up. I attached the pattern, the green plaid pattern, to the right side. And then I separated it with, it's kind of like a burlap almost pattern to the left side, just to kind of give it a different feel. And then I attached these large green, I don't even really know what they are. They're kind of like, I think almost like an ornament size, I guess. And then I put a sticker on top of it and just kind of kept layering different types and kinds of clovers to it. And then I put these little cute wood clovers on the outside, on the top and bottom of my large clover. And then I'm going to take and put my 4 stickers on there. And this one was fast. Like, we did it super quick and easy. So if you're looking for a fast one, this is your go-to. So my original design, I was going to add this gold ribbon to it, but it didn't look good, so I just decided not to do it and took it off. So that's it. So this is number 10, and I forgot to name it, but we're going to call it By Me, because I hand painted the back sheet that I'm going to use for my pattern back. And I just used a bunch of different colored greens and also added some pearl white to the top of it to give it kind of a shimmer. And then I let it dry overnight. So once it was dry, I attached it to my card. Well, first you want to make sure your card is right side up, always. Then you want to attach the back part to your card using your standard glue stick. Then we are going to use our Gorilla Super Glue to attach our large green clover to the front of it. Then we'll put the other cute little green clover on top of that. This one was pretty simple to do as well, and it was fast with the exception of letting my paint dry overnight. I'm pretty sure it would have been dry in like 20 minutes had I wanted to do it quickly. Or if you have a pattern paper, you could always use that instead of painting the back part. And this one's a fast one too if you need something in a pinch. I originally wanted to use this plain green ribbon, but I could not get it to work out. So I switched it to this cute little ribbon that has these daisies on it, and I liked it. You know, I gave it some some different kind of colors to go in with it. And I'm over the super glue with this ribbon stuff because it was starting to seep through this type of ribbon. I guess it's thin, so I'm super gluing it on there. No, I'm hot gluing it. I don't know what I'm doing. I hot glued it on there. Yeah, so I actually got one of the green ribbons on the bottom, and you can see where the glue seeped through the edges. And so I just left it on there, and I'm just going to glue this ribbon, hot glue this ribbon right on top of it. So that's the whole reason why the other one didn't work out. But this one looks great. So this is actually number 10. It's Nomi, like a play on homie. So I guess the card before is just a bonus extra stuck in the middle, or we have 2 10s. That's fine with me. So this one's cute because I like the little gnomes. I did cut it out on my Brother paper cutter. I used a polka dot background paper to start, and then I just kind of layered different colors of green on there. I wanted it to be sitting on a hill, so I did half of a circle for the top green card, and then I'm going to glue all the little pieces of my gnome on there. It was a little tedious process, but we got him on there and he's perfect. I love him. Now we're going to put some clouds up in the sky above him. I thought those were cute additions. So I'm using my chalk again with my little cotton ball to give a green faded blended border to the little squares that I'm going to write my notes on, that I'm going to put on the outside of my card. I'm actually going to do one in kind of like a brownish color and one in green, but it gives it a little bit of dimension and I loved it. So you can see I actually planned on doing both of them green, and I changed my mind at the last minute. So I think if I would have kept it green, it would have looked good too. So modify it how you like. I just offer my opinions. And then I'm going to write on my card that I appreciate you in my best possible handwriting that I can. And it's going to say, I appreciate you, Nomi. Like, I appreciate you, homie. So I really like the font that's used on like the Ray Dunn pieces. And so I believe that's what you call them. So I try to kind of mimic my letters to appear that way. It didn't come out perfect, but that's where I got the concept from. That was my goal anyway. So here's a quick view of my supplies and then a run through of each one of the cards. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you find some inspiration to make yourself a St. Patty's Day card.